Greetings and Happy New Year! I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, taking a break from editing my next review to talk about 2022, specifically the stuff I'm looking forward to in 2022. 2022 is theoretically going to be our year, the year where things get back on track. I'll believe it when I see it, but before I chat about 2022, I should reflect on 2021, a slightly better question mark year than 2020. It was a pretty good year for me, thanks to you guys. This year's October was, according to YouTube's numbers, the biggest year ever. We launched a second channel called The Gulag, which is still in its infancy, but has acquired a pretty big following after a few vids, so subscribe. And I also won a Silver Bolo Award for Excellence in Horror Media from Shudder's The Last Drive-In, presented by the legendary underground movie host Joe Bob Briggs and Diana Darcy Prince the Mail Girl.
Dr. Wolfula, the monstrous horror host.
I've heard of Dr. Wolfula, but will Dr. Wolfula let us use his real name?
I recently received the physical award signed by the crew, and I am very thankful to have won it. It's a big honor, especially since I received one of the final Silver Bolo Awards ever.
I have here the latest Silver Bolo to be created by our resident silversmith. Will you please see that it gets to its certified recipient?
I'm part of a very exclusive club now that includes Screaming Soup and Bloodbath TV, so get subscribed to those fine folks. I also got to finally see Halloween Kills in theaters, and I've seen it a few more times since, and you know, I still really like that movie, but I'll offer a mega-sized review of it soon, going more in-depth on my thoughts. I also got a PS5 for retail price this Christmas. I thought I'd share some footage of me playing Demon's Souls, beating the Tower Knight, and I'm totally not just showing this footage in a video so I can write off the PS5 on my taxes. Okay, I am, but also here's some footage of me playing the new Spider-Man game, Miles Morales. It's a really great game, kinda short, but I had a hell of a time collecting everything in it. I give it a 5 out of 5. So this counts as a review, I'm writing it off.
Take shit!
Enough talking about 2021, though. Let's look forward to 2022.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
First thing I'm looking forward to is the new Scream film coming out in January. I honestly regret my old reviews of the first two Scream films. They were too negative. I do really like the Scream series, and I'm interested to see what'll be done with it in a film with a totally new creative team that can give a fresh perspective on the horror genre, especially how it has morphed in the last decade since the previous Scream film. The first trailer doesn't look like it's going to be a remix of the original film's plot, but it also feels like it'll be a good jumping off point connecting to the original film, returning to Woodsboro with new characters with ties to the past, and of course, the returning trio, and it seems like it could be possible that one of the original three could be killed, or be a killer, or both. This movie will really make or break Scream as a franchise. It will likely be a financial success, but if fan and general audience reactions are poor, it could end up making the film franchise dormant again. The trailer is vague, but it looks like a well-made sequel on the surface, though, and it also seems like it might be a surprisingly darker take on a usually lighter comedic series, which is refreshing because we see self-aware gags everywhere now. Another movie I'm kinda looking forward to in 2022 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot sequel coming to Netflix. We've heard some bad things about the production and the early screenings of it, and its final fate on Netflix is troubling. Usually when a film intended for theaters ends up streaming only, it's a sign that it's gonna suck and nobody wants to lose more money on it with a theatrical release. This is another Texas Chainsaw Massacre film shot in Bulgaria, and the brief frames they show make it seem like it's gonna be some steampunk Jack the Ripper film, which would be cool, but it's not gonna be that. The film apparently paints Leatherface in a more sympathetic light, where he's been forced out of hiding by some troublesome Gen Zers that do some terrible shit to him, but it seems to confirm that it's another Texas Chainsaw film that misses the point of the original. The Saw is family. You can't have a successful, functional Texas Chainsaw film where it's just Leatherface without the family. Otherwise, it's just a generic slasher film about a solitary masked killer stalking stalking teens. Leatherface is sympathetic, but he's sympathetic because his family members are truly insanely evil. What makes Leatherface scary is how you see this victim pushed into becoming a relentless killer just like them. It's just not as fascinating without that, but maybe this sequel can pull it together, and I realize most horror fans only care about the surface level cool gore and kills thing, so maybe this film will at least have that.
Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
Yet another film I'm looking forward to isn't horror, but it's certainly dark. The new Batman reboot starring Robert Pattinson. I am on the fence about certain things. The suit looks mostly cool as a rudimentary pieced-together thing showing that this is still early in Batman's career, but I'm not so sure about the shape of the cowl, and I think the collar might be a bit too much. Also, what's going on with Robert Pattinson's hair as Bruce Wayne? I guess it's perfect because nobody would expect this guy to be Batman. I also think Andy Serkis is miscast as Alfred. He's a great actor and will do a fine job with it, but he's not a good fit for Alfred. I feel like he was only chosen because he played Caesar in the director Matt Reeves' previous Planet of the Apes films, and the director wanted an excuse to work with Serkis again.
Killer left this for the Batman. Why is he writing to you?
These minor complaints aside, I think Robert Pattinson will be a great Batman, and this film looks really dark and serious, which is what Batman should be, but it feels really refreshing after all these Marvel films have been coming out with jokes and gags every minute. At the same time, though, this new Batman film doesn't feel bleak, and it toes the line between the more realistic tone of the Nolan films and the more gothic comic book look of the Burton/Schumacher era, ultimately finding a visual middle ground as a neo-noir Seven-like film that still looks like a Batman comic brought to life. In some ways, the Batman looks like a dark and gritty version of the Batman TV show, especially in how Colin Farrell's Penguin looks like a punished version of Burgess Meredith's. The film looks great because it's dark and serious, but it still remembers its goofier roots, embracing and contemporizing them. Of course, I'm also looking forward to Halloween Ends, which supposedly is still coming out in 2022, but unless production starts soon, I feel like it may end up being delayed a year. Halloween Kills was a bit controversial. It's the middle chapter of the story, and it's a lot like how the original Star Wars trilogy went. You end with the Death Star blowing up, Michael burning in Laurie's house, but then the Empire strikes back. Michael is alive and kills nearly every character from the original and 2018 films. It's the first film where Michael totally wins. I'm hooked on seeing how it'll all play out in Halloween Ends. Halloween Kills was a good display of how stupid mob mentality is. More people died because of all the dumb decisions they made as a group.
Evil dies tonight! Everybody, calm down.
So I feel like with what happened in that film and all the time that passes, the characters are going to take a smarter, organized approach to hunting down Michael in Halloween Ends.
If they don't stop him tonight, maybe we'll find him tomorrow.
I can talk about Halloween Kills and Ends all day, though, so I'll save it for a future video, but suffice to say, I am really looking forward to Halloween Ends, seeing how this entire story shapes up for the shape.
What do you know about the multiverse?
There's also the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness MCU flick I'm sorta looking forward to a bit, just because it's directed by Sam Raimi, director of the Evil Dead films. But this Doctor Strange sequel, based on the trailer, feels like it'll be another case of Raimi making a movie for Disney that has to fit their mold like Oz the Great and Powerful. It looks like a standard MCU movie so far. It doesn't look like it'll be a true Raimi film. The original Spider-Man films managed to have Raimi's sensibilities to them while still being commercially viable Marvel films. It sucks because I've been waiting for Raimi to make another movie, but it seems like he might be in the Tim Burton phase of his career where he's just hired to make a movie that fits a certain mold, but doesn't have his creative stamp on it. Well, at least Raimi is producing a new Evil Dead film this year, and I'm looking forward to Evil Dead Rise, even though we don't know much yet. Some people hate the idea of Evil Dead without Bruce Campbell, but to me, Ash and the Deadites are both really cool, but Ash has always overshadowed the Deadites, and I feel like they can really shine on their own as great horror movie monsters, and I like the change of setting to a skyscraper. Bruce Campbell and Raimi are still in control over the Evil Dead franchise, and I trust their decisions on what to do with it. We still don't know much about the film, though. We are also getting that Evil Dead game in 2022 though, and it looks fun, but I fear it either won't have a great single-player mode, or the single-player will be a short afterthought without much of a story.
I intend to rule with respect.
Finally, it's technically a 2021 show, but I started watching Book of Boba Fett, and it has a good start, telling a compelling tale about how Boba Fett survived the Pit of Carkoon. But at the same time, since it's Disney Plus, the first episode felt like it's really pulling its punches, depicting the criminal underworld of Star Wars. And I'm not totally sold yet on the idea of Boba Fett wanting to become a crime lord like Jabba the Hutt. It feels like they're uneasy about making a gangster show that's still family-friendly. I guess I'll see how it plays out over the course of the first season.
Please. Speak freely.
That's all from me, though. What are you looking forward to watching in 2022? Let me know in the comments below, and Happy New Year from your host with the most, Dr. Wolfula. See you in 2022 with new videos, I hope. Also, to ring in the new year proper, I'll be privately live streaming for my movie night tier supporters on Patreon New Year's Evil on Saturday night, January 1st. If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. I'd also like to thank these fine folks pledged my shout-out tier on Patreon for all their kind support. Videos like this wouldn't be possible without all their help. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.